welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Offsides Podcast, the unofficial official podcast of Charlotte Football Club. I am your host, as always, Andres Robledo, and I am joined by my co-host, Pablo Robledo. Pablo, another week of high highs and low lows, huh? How's it been?
Hey, hey! Been a bunch of, definitely highs and lows. Uh, Projected outcomes that were not turned out how I thought it was gonna be. It's just been crazy. It's been upside down world.
Yeah, we've entered the Stranger Things universe and are in the upside down.
Yeah, we're yeah.
But let's jump right into it. Not a whole lot of news this week. No new signings announced yet. It does look like Ortiz is probably on his way out, just being dropped from the first team. Even in the Chelsea friendly, he wasn't part of the squad, and pretty much everyone else was. So it looks like we're gonna no longer be seeing our boy TT Ortiz on the field. What do you think of that? If that goes through.
I mean, I think you and I both kind of saw that coming, right? Like Miguel's gone, then Franco's gone. Alcivar's not getting the minutes that he used to with when Miguel was there, and Ortiz was just. I mean, he had his slight up, but then he just went back to regular Ortiz, no effort. So we kind of figured that was coming.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, he was brought in on a loan, right?
Yeah, so he was brought in on a loan with an option to buy, but I guess we opted out of that
Who said,
option.
"Waiter, take it away"? Done with it. All right. Well,
Yeah.
there are definitely flashes of him that were fun to see, but I would say definitely more frustrating moment. Wish him, the best going forward. Hopefully he figures things out for himself, but hopefully we see some big name signings coming to Charlotte soon. But for right now, it's all quiet on that front.
I hope he goes to Atlanta.
That'd be perfect. He'd fit in really well there.
That'd be awesome.
The revenge narrative. Where would he be the
It'd be a good
insider man
rivalry.
breaking things apart?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's jump into the next part of the show. Something that we just started doing last week. So if you missed the episode, before we jump into the recaps, we just wanted to do a brief talk on a topic of the week. And for this week, we decided to talk about what is it, successful and unsuccessful youngsters in the game of football. Young teens or older teens or young 20-year-olds that were, making a big splash on the scene when they first came up, but maybe, failed to live up to the hype, or some that did. I definitely have a good little mix, so we're gonna go through. I picked three and you picked three, and we're just gonna talk about them before we go into our review of the Chelsea match and the Toronto match. So this topic, it was we picked it because of and we'll get to it, the Brian Romero debut that we got to see last Wednesday when Charlotte played Chelsea, which is very cool to see. So, Pablo, this was your kind of idea. This was your topic of the week. Hit me with your first one.
Yeah, so I thought since, Brian came in, made his debut, it was, maybe 5 minutes that he played. But in those 5 minutes, he kind of made the game-winning opportunity, set it up for the PK. He drove the ball beautifully and tried to take that shot and got that handball, so we tied it up and then sent us to PKs. But I was thinking, I was like, we get these guys that are so young that come in with so much hype, and then 3 or 4 years down the road, they kind of don't really pan out to expectations. And then you get some of these other guys that just like come out and blow everybody's minds that really nobody had on their radar at all. So I figured, why don't we talk about some of these guys that there was a lot of hype for, and they just never really turned into anything. Starting with probably my number 3 would be Robinho. He's out of Brazil, youngster. He did play for like a lot of big big clubs, especially over in Europe. But I don't feel like he ever truly um, played up to the expectation that everybody thought he was gonna have
Yeah.
when he joined the Brazil squad with like Ronaldinho and Ronaldo, Rivaldo, like all those guys, and Robinho was expected to be the next guy to like fill in Ronaldinho's shoes and the replacement for Ronaldo. And I just never thought he lived up to the hype.
Yeah.
Um,
Played for a lot of big teams, but probably wasn't ever the star really, besides, like name
right.
value, and then never really won anything either that was, solely on his shoulders. I don't know what he won when he was with Madrid, but I know when he went to Man City, I don't think he won anything with them.
Yeah, like I know he was Ballon d'Or nominee, but he never won
Yeah.
it. And even with when he was with Real Madrid, I never thought he was like a top performer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Another thing that I think Robinho probably had going against him was I don't think he really had the physical stature of a great football player. I always thought he was a little too short and on the skinny side.
Another one of those guys where, all the talent but no work ethic, I feel like, at least from things I've heard or like read in interviews and stuff of players talking about him, like just, wasn't, preferred to party and spend money than, spend extra time out
Mm-hmm.
in the training ground. But that's a good one.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like he kind of peaked out as far as his market value when he played for Real Madrid, and then Real Madrid sold him to Manchester City, and then after that he just plummeted there. He played for AC Milan a good bit, and then after that it was just back to the Brazilian league. Um, he was also kind of surrounded with some controversy. I don't know if you heard about this, but he was sentenced in, I think in Italy. This was a couple of years back, but he was sentenced for like 8 or 9 years in prison for the involvement of like a rape
Oh, wow.
of some, yeah, like him and I don't know who else. But ever since then, like AC, his obviously his market value dropped, and big clubs had nothing to do with him. So that didn't help any at
Yeah,
all.
jeez.
And right now they just got him. They have him marked as retired, but I'm not sure if he's actually like retired, if he's in jail. I haven't really followed up on him. Um, but yeah, that didn't help his case at all.
Yeah, that's definitely a career that you don't want to follow in the footsteps of. Jeez.
No. Uh.
All right. Well, for my first one, I'm going with an American. This guy played, what kind of went through the ranks of the Bayern Munich Youth Academy, and same with the German national team before making the switch over to the U.S. national team. In a very controversial move, the U.S. coach took him with his last pick for the 2014 World Cup, famously leaving off Landon Donovan. Uh, Julian Green. Don't know if you ever remember the name or recall him, but in that 2014 year when he replaced Landon Donovan, people thought this was going to be the next great American forward. He was a winger, dual citizen of the U.S. and Germany, was part of Bayern Munich's team, went through the youth academy, uh, and even in that 2014 World Cup, he actually scored, became the youngest at that tournament to score, youngest ever World Cup goal scorer. But unfortunately, that seems to have been his peak. Ever since then, he got loaned out to some lower league teams in the Bundesliga and never really made a name for himself. He's currently still playing in the second division of the Bundesliga at 27 years old. Has not been a part of the U.S. men's team in quite some time, and just hasn't really done a whole lot with his career with the amount of hype that there was for him at that time. And I mean, I just remember at that time, Bayern Munich, I mean, they still are one of the biggest and most successful clubs in the world, but at that time they were really just, kind of starting to win the Bundesliga every year. They're in the Champions League final every year, and to see a 19-year-old American kid on their bench, as well as seeing him go to the World Cup and scoring and whatnot, people just thought he was just going to be the next big thing, and just never lived up to it. So it was just kind of interesting to see that. Landon Donovan didn't really get his proper farewell on the international stage with playing one more World Cup with Dempsey and Howard and all those guys that that core group of U.S. men's national team that kind of elevated the game. And we've just seen Julian Green kind of disappear into the background, no longer with Bayern Munich and just stuck in the second division of the Bundesliga.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking at his market value. His current market value is like 1.1 million, which is not bad. But it looked like he definitely picked that with FC Bayern Munich, and kind of like I think around 2016 just hit rock bottom and just has been there. So yeah, that's a good one. But I definitely never heard of this guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's only made 15 appearances for the national team, the U.S. national team. He got 4 goals in those. His last appearance came in 2018, and even for his club record, he's made a total of 197 professional starts with only 46 goals. Um, so nothing that's really gonna set the world on fire or anything like that. It's interesting you say he's only worth 1 million or 1.1 million. Could definitely see an MLS team bringing him here and taking a chance on him.
Yeah, because he's still pretty
Yeah,
young.
27. I mean, uh, I guess that's kind of like right in your prime, but
Right.
you could, someone could take a chance on him and see if he can reignite his career here on home soil as opposed to second division Bundesliga. But we'll see.
Well, we've definitely seen some second division players come over and play at MLS, even on our current team
Yep.
now. Who was it? Jasviak came out of Derby. Vargas came out of that Portuguese
Yeah.
league.
Yep.
Any other ones you can recall?
No. Yeah, none that I can recall off the top of my head. Mm-mm.
Yeah, but still,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Definitely a name that I completely forgot about, but I remember at the time, like that was someone that you were gonna like, keep an eye on, but has just become completely irrelevant now. Give me your second one.
Okay, so my second one, still this guy performed in some of the top clubs, but similar to Robinho, just never really was the main star. I think he was more of like an assistant, not assistant, but an assist player. But everybody thought he was going to be kind of the next best thing, and this was Giovanni Dos Santos out of
Mm-hmm.
Mexico. I remember this guy kind of sticks out to me. You were showing me some highlights back when we were younger, and we still kind of lived at our parents' house. But remember, we used to have the family computer,
Yeah.
the old family. So you were, I think you were on YouTube or something, and you were showing me highlights of Giovanni Dos Santos. Like, man, this guy's gonna be good. And I was like, wow, like because I think he was playing for the international team at the time. Um,
Wasn't he playing
but yeah,
for
he's
Barca at the time as well?
yeah. So out of the youth club, I think he played with Barcelona's youth team. He played with Barca B, and then eventually got called up to the Barcelona team. But I think also another thing that didn't really help him was injuries. I know he had a lot of injuries, so he got loaned out a lot too. I want to say he got loaned out to some English team. I wish I could remember their name. Uh, but after that, like he just never really panned out. Ended up in a couple of Mexican leagues. Well, he also played for the LA Galaxy, which was probably like maybe not like peak of probably the peak of his career performance wise.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not, you know, uh, like
Not the
the
yeah,
club
probably not the
wise.
trajectory that we thought he was going to go on. Because he was
Right.
coming up
Yeah.
through Barcelona like the same time as like Messi and who was the other guy like Bojan. It was just that era of Barcelona where they had a lot of like just really young, like 20-year-old like forward slash wingers, and all of them looked good on tape, but I guess really only one of them made that full leap to actually achieve their hype.
Yeah. Yeah. So like right now he's without a club. He hasn't played, and from what they're saying is his current net worth is well, not net worth, but his current market value is 550,000.
Interesting.
To yeah, to like back at I guess the peak, where he was. Let me see, sold to L.A. Paid 7 million for him.
Wow.
So I mean that's a long ways to drop. Just going back over to his club, kind of jumping around. So yeah, he definitely came out through the Barca youth, played with Barca B. Then he was sold to the English league, the Spurs,
Okay.
for 6.6 million. They loaned him out, and then after that loan, they loaned him out to another English league. I think a lower division, Ipswich. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. But then after that loan ended, they loaned him out again to another, I think, Portuguese league or Turkish league. I'm sorry. And then after that loan ended, they loaned him out again to a Spanish league. So he's just been on loan after loan after loan. He was eventually sold to back to La Liga in Villarreal. He only played there maybe 2 years, and then LA bought him. And after LA is really like he hasn't really had a team. He played with America, Club America, maybe a year, and that's it.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's another guy that didn't really pan out. I thought we were gonna see big things from him, but
Mm, uh,
not so much.
he had a pretty good international career, though, right? I mean, he always showed up for
Yeah,
Mexico. I feel like.
yeah. I think his performance wise and just like when he played the best is probably when he was playing for his international team.
Mm.
I mean, he had a lot of goals when he played with LA Galaxy, and I think that was probably more of his level. I don't think he could compete with those European teams that he was
Yeah.
at.
Interesting. Interesting. That's a good one. That's not a you know someone I've thought about in a long, long time. I definitely
Yeah,
remember the
so
hype
like
around him though when we were growing up.
no, same here. Because like whenever I play these old FIFA games and I kind of want to start, doing a new manager mode or something, like that's one guy I always kind of look for. Um, but yeah, he just never really. I was like, man, I wonder whatever happened to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, who you got?
So for my second pick, this is kind of this player saw a lot of success very early on, and then just never kept it going. But I will say he probably won everything there is to win on a professional level, um, but just did not continue to do so. So for my second player, I've picked Mario Gottitz. Probably pronounced that terrible. Um, but he made a huge scene or kind of burst onto the scene in like 2010, 2011 as like a 19-year-old playing like center attacking mid for Borussia Dortmund. And this is at the time that Borussia were starting to compete against Bayern Munich a lot, and at least here in the states becoming like a much bigger name for the club. And he was someone who was like kind of touted to be, I guess, like the next Messi, even though Messi was still pretty young at the time. But it was that kind of level of youngster of just you know incredible dribbler, playmaker, could score goals. And I believe he won a Bundesliga with Borussia Dortmund, and then did what every good German player does, which is leave their club and go play for Bayern Munich, where he then went on to win a couple of Bundesligas, and don't remember if he won a Champions League or not. But then we get to the 2010 World Cup, and or no, I'm sorry, was it the 2014 World Cup? We get to the 2014 World Cup. Germany are in the finals. He comes onto the field as a sub and scores the winning goal to get Germany the World Cup. Uh, does all this by the age of 22, and then after that,
Wow.
kind of just falls off the map. Starts dealing with injuries, starts losing playing time at Bayern Munich, decides to go back to Borussia Dortmund, but can't really, refine that form that made him burst onto the scene. And made him such a big star, and just kind of continued to struggle. And even now, at age 30, he is just not the player we would have thought he was going to be. Didn't accomplish that. He didn't have the continuous success that we would have hoped for him. Uh, but that being said, he did win Bundesliga titles, the World Cup. I believe he's won a Champions League, if not multiple. So while it's someone who probably didn't continue his success, he did peak very early in his professional career and pretty much won everything there is to win.
Hmm. Yeah, another one I've never really heard about, but that's pretty impressive as far as coming off the bench and then scoring the game winner.
Yeah, and
Too bad.
I remember 2012, 2013, 2014, like when he was coming up, he was like the guy to buy on your FIFA team, and it was like the 100 million or $150 million transfer fee, and
Wow.
so you would have thought he would kind of follow in the Messi Ronaldo footsteps with just all the talent he had, and winning the World Cup and winning multiple Bundesligas, multiple Champions Leagues, or I think just one Champions League, but just never really did it. Never after that World Cup, his career kind of fell off and has just not recovered. I think he's still playing in the Bundesliga, but for a much smaller team. He's playing for Frankfurt this season. I think they just signed him.
At least he's still playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully he can stay healthy and find that form again. But we will see. But that's definitely a guy that's kind of the, I would say, more of on the mixed side of lived up to the hype or not. Definitely lived up to the early hype, and again, I mean, winning a World Cup at what I think he was 20, 22, something like that. Um, doesn't get much better than that at the end of your career.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
All right, so hit me with your next one.
All right, my last one. He was dubbed the American Pele. This was around when Nike came out with the Total 90 cleats, and that was like everybody's go-to. You either had Total 90 or you had the Predators. And this guy wore Total 90s. Freddie Adu. He was like one of the youngest kids to ever sign an MLS, well, just a soccer contract at all. I know he was scouted also by, I think, Inter Milan's youth squad before he ultimately decided to sign with DC United. But this was another one that, there was, this guy had a lot of hype. Nike put out a lot of campaigns around him, and he just didn't really turn out. I think this one probably goes to what you said. It was like the talent, but no work ethic. This guy's just bounced around a lot from MLS teams to tier 2 and tier 3 teams over in Europe. Probably he had played for, he's played for the U.S. international team, but he hasn't really done much. And now he's like, what, 32 or something like that? Which, you still got some guys out there playing at 32, but he just doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah, that was someone who, when I was like in elementary school or middle school, that was like definitely the big name here in the States that everyone knew, especially because I think he went pro at like 14 or something. Um, but yeah, just never lived up to it really.
No, yeah, remember I think they even had like a commercial. I forget which. It was either Sprite or Sierra Mist, one of those. But they had a commercial with like him and Pele in it. Like even Pele was like praising him and the talent he had. But I mean, he signed when he was 14-year-olds, so that's so incredibly young. Like 14. I mean, I can't remember what I was doing at 14, but it definitely you're
Not
not
making
playing with
money.
grown adults, not making money. No, not like he did. Um, I know he coached a little bit for after he kind of retired. He bounced around a lot of MLS teams. Played with like San Jose or the Earthquakes, wherever they are. And I know he played with Philly for a while. Trying to think who else he might have played with. I just remember him playing with DC United, but like after he signed that contract, he just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
He also had a tryout with like Manchester United, but former coach at the time, Sir Alex Ferguson, didn't really see it and just kind of wished them the best of luck.
Well, if anyone's has an eye for talent, it's definitely that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually
Yeah, but
good.
I think this. Oh, I was gonna say I think this was just a case of too famous, too young type of deal.
Yeah,
Like you said, it was just he probably thought it was just all gonna come easy after that, and it didn't.
yeah, that makes sense.
But the only reason I wanted to bring that up is just I'm kind of hoping that this semi young guy, well, it's very young. He's 16. Well, Brian, that we have now with Charlotte. I hope this doesn't happen to him. I hope he sticks around and he develops and gets rid of that haircut.
Every 16-year-old has a bad haircut. You and I both did.
True.
So for my last guy, I have which is one of the best case scenarios you can be for a young, hyped up player, former Manchester United player, former England international player, and he is the current DC United coach. I have Wayne the
What?
Pig Rooney. And
You're crazy.
yeah, I think people don't realize how good Wayne Rooney is. He made his debut for Everton in the English Premier League at 16,
Huh.
scored, uh, really burst onto the scene, and just made a name for himself and made a big move over to Manchester United. Got involved into the first team pretty early on in his career. He became the best English goal scorer. Holds the goal scoring record for England, I believe. That might be broken by now, but maybe not. Has won multiple league titles, and I believe multiple Champions Leagues as well. Didn't quite see that much international success. I mean, England as a whole haven't. But he is easily one of the best English players and Premier League players to ever play. Finished his career and is now a coach. But I mean, for you know, literally making his debut as a 16-year-old and playing in the Premier League for 15, 16 years, and then going and playing in the MLS. He returned to Everton at one point as well. I don't know if that was before or after DC United. Probably before.
Wait, are we talking? Are we talking young and did pan out for Rooney?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I was like, okay, now I'm on board.
Okay.
At first, I thought you were talking about young and didn't didn't work out. I was like, Rooney definitely had some like, he was sure he was the pig, but like he was good. He was
Yeah. No.
okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
So
Continue. Yes, I'm on board now.
yeah. So Julian Green, he's the youth player that doesn't pan out. Mario Gottitz is kind of the hybrid youth player that did a lot, but then just kind of burnt out and didn't do anything after 22. And Wayne Rooney's the probably the if you're a young teenage player right now on the cusp of making it to the pro level like Brian Romero, Wayne Rooney's probably a career you want to try to emulate. Uh, Pretty much won everything from a professional team standpoint. Huge success on the England national team, and now is coaching. And from everything I've read and seen, it looks like he's a pretty good coach. Well, he's still pretty early on in his career, so there's still a lot of time to see about that. But another player who had the perfect mix of talent and hard work. Just worked really, really hard, a lot of talent, and made the most out of it. And I think he got every single drop out of his talent. Um, early in his career, he was kind of a traditional number nine striker, just banging in a lot of goals. And as he got a bit older and slowed down, he had developed his technical skills a lot and kind of became the number 10 for Man United and played more of like the center attacking mid role, the playmaker role. um, and then you can still, that famous DC United clip, I think that shows his whole work ethic right there of where, he tracks back 40, 50 yards, wins the ball, and sets up the game winning assist. So
Yeah.
if I was a young kid, Wayne Rooney's probably a realistic player of who you would want to try to emulate.
There's certain qualities I always remember about Wayne Rooney. One, he had like an incredible, powerful laser shot. I don't think he was much of a curler, but he definitely could like shoot from way outside the box, and it was just a straight beam coming at you. And then his like how aggressive he was
Yeah.
when he played. Like, you better get out of that dude's way. I think that's why we always called him the pig. Cause that was like that dude would run you over
And in like the
to get to the
the
ball.
old Pro Evolution games, his face kind of looked like a pig.
Yeah, he did.
They didn't do him any favors in that game.
No, no. I
The
think
PlayStation
his was
2 only
pretty,
had
pretty
so
sick.
much graphic capabilities.
That squishy face.
But he
had.
was just someone that, like,
But
if he hit the field, you knew he was going to be a threat. He was, going to get you a goal or, do something to make your team win. And like you said, like the physicality, the tenacity of him, he was always just like a menace to watch him play. I hated watching Man
yeah,
United games when they played against Chelsea and he was on the field. I mean, he was just a menace.
yeah, he was very aggressive, especially for like those loose balls. He kind of reminded me of like I don't think you remember when Rodman played basketball, but like he would just sacrifice his body just to get that loose ball back into play and just get his team like make an opportunity out of nothing basically.
Yeah.
But I think that's also like kind of what maybe drove him out of like the DC United or just MLS. And when he did track back that one guy, got the ball back, sent that amazing cross, and that guy is like put in the back of the net, and like the whole team just celebrates off to the side without him. Like, you do realize you only scored because this guy just ran all the way back, got the ball back cleanly, and then like you guys aren't like, I felt like the team should have been running to him,
Yeah.
and they just left him over there. I was like, yeah, like I think after that it was kind of like game over for him.
Yeah. I mean, he was also like in his early 30s, I believe. So, but
Yeah, yeah, but still, what do you think? Well, now he's coaching. Now he coached at Derby some. Now he's back at DC United. Still young in his coaching career. How do you think he's gonna pan out as a coach? You think he's gonna be a couple seasons and retire, or you think he's gonna try to like make a legitimate career out of
no, I
it?
think he'll try to make a legitimate career out of it. He dealt with the whole Derby County uh, issues that they had last season of being dealt. Well, I think it was like a 20-point deduction or something, and they were dead broke essentially, and just fighting to stay in the championship. Some of the clips I've seen of him as a coach are really good. It kind of reminds me of Alex Ferguson or Sir Alex Ferguson.
Hmm.
Um, and obviously, he spent so much time with Ferguson that I'm sure he learned a ton, and he probably still stays in touch with him and learns from him. So I think, you know, a lot of the players I grew up idolizing are starting to become coaches. Frank Lampard's a coach now. Wayne Rooney's a coach. Terry Henry tried coaching for a little bit. Um, Trying to think of who else is kind of like a big coach now that is used to be a player. Zavi.
Wasn't it Toronto that Henry tried to coach?
Either that or
We just
Vancouver. It was one of the Canadian teams.
Oh, I think it might have been Vancouver. I think you're right. Yeah, one of the Canadians, but
But
yeah, I think
but
you're
I
right.
would say he's the one that's probably impressed me the most besides Xavi. But Xavi, he got handed Barcelona, and somehow they have an unlimited budget, even though they're $1 billion in debt and already had a stacked squad. But like some of the halftime speeches I've seen him do, and we'll get a better look at it with once we play DC United in the upcoming weeks. But I think out of all those guys, he probably is in a prime position to be a really good manager.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I'm hoping it turns out well for him on the manager
I feel like
side.
he's doing it the
Uh,
right way too, of like not just jumping in. Like Frank Lampard, he coached at Derby and went from Derby to Chelsea, and I just think that's too big of a leap when you're first starting out to learn how to be a manager. Um, I feel like Wayne
mhm.
Rooney's doing it the right way of like smaller club, like kind of figure out who you want to be as a manager, what your style is, like what kind of style of football you want to play, how you teach that to players, how you get them to believe in a project, and it'll be interesting to see what he does at DC United and what he does after. But I'm sure one day he'll be coaching Man United if his career goes well.
Oh, that's a pretty big leap.
Yeah, but I think he's
I don't
building the
know.
foundation to make that step eventually. Maybe not right after DC United, but I think he's kind of like working towards that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Good pick. Good
The
pick.
pig. Awesome. Well, that's fun. And if you guys want us to cover a certain topic or have any ideas you want us to cover, you can leave it in a YouTube comment or leave it in a review, and we'll get to it and shout you out on the podcast. But this is definitely something that I'm enjoying as part of our episodes, and I think we'll keep doing it as a little segment. But let's move on to the midweek match, the international friendly between Charlotte FC and Chelsea FC. Pablo, what were your expectations from not only just a match point of view of like the result, but style of play, atmosphere, uh, just all the kind of things that go with going to a live match.
Well, I mean, I expected us to definitely lose that game when we were, coming up to it. I didn't. For one, it's Chelsea. They're one of the top five teams over there in the English league, um, and they're coming in to play Charlotte. New expansion team, and they're not going to be getting our full squad. So I just thought we were going to get blown out like 3-0 or something. Like these guys were just going to pass it around and shoot from outside or hit some sweet crosses. But no, I mean, um, Charlotte was able to kind of hold their own. For most of the match, I would say yeah, Chelsea was very dominant. But when it came to like the attack and third, we were able to shut them down. So I was pretty pleased with that. I think we conceded the first goal. It was in the first half. I can't remember what minute, but I want to say maybe 20 minutes
Yeah,
in,
something like that.
10, 15 minutes
Yeah,
in. But after that, I want to say I think they maybe just kind of they knew they were being dominant. I think they also knew that they were gonna in their back of their mind they thought they were gonna win this game and let's just put it away 1-0. From what I read, they were gonna use this game as a warm up game, get their guys to get those legs muscles stretched and going, things like that. They weren't gonna go 100%. So they probably thought they had this game in the bag, kill the clock. But then Brian comes in the 90 plus minute it felt like, and then we get that equalizing PK, and then we end up beating them in PKs. I was very pleased with the result that Charlotte put up.
yeah. Um, and to even just kind of like bring in more context to it, that prior weekend we had, lost terribly to Inter Miami, giving up a 2-0 lead to lose 3-2. And then the night before we played Chelsea, Miami played Barcelona and lost 6-0. So it was like, okay, well, this is a sign of things to come. Like this is probably what we can expect going into Wednesday. And yeah, to see them, one at the end of half to only be down by one and have a couple of our chances of our own. I mean, I think was it in the first half that yeah, it had to be in the first half. Reyna hit the post. I mean, I think he like literally hit where the crossbar and the post like are welded together, like literally the upper 90. Uh, Swiderski had a header he could have made. And we had, Kalina had a lot of good saves. The back line had a lot of good stops. Like, it definitely was not a huge domination. I would say Chelsea did have the ball for large periods of time and, were able to create a lot of chances. But didn't feel like we were that outplayed or outclassed. I mean, that being said, we still have to remember that this is a preseason warm up match for Chelsea while we're in the middle of our season. But still, I mean, we didn't get blown out 6-0.
Yeah, yeah. Who was it that got? I think it was Philly. I forget. Whoever played FC or Bayern Munich. I mean, they got beat pretty bad.
Yeah, I think that was Philly.
Was it
I
Philly?
think so.
Yeah, so they got beat pretty bad, and I think Arsenal also won their game. So again, I was just happy that Charlotte was able to just pull that win out of their magic little hat there.
Yeah.
Man, even like going into the PKs, I was just like, "There's no way this one's going in. There's no way this one going in." And then boom, I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Like that was probably like, even though it's a friendly, like some of the most intense PKs I've ever seen.
Hindsight, I'm not surprised that Chelsea lost it in PKs. They lost 2 cup finals last season, both against Liverpool in PKs. Uh, so I'm actually not surprised that we won it in the PKs. Chelsea right now, for some reason, are just bad at PK. I mean, I think historically they've been a bad PK team. You go back to the 2008 Champions League final where Man United beat them in PKs for the Champions League final. Uh, so yeah, just a team that historically just seems to lose penalty kicks. It's
Just not good at that.
frustrating to watch as
Yards.
a fan.
Well, for you, it was a win-win either way, right? I mean, Chelsea wins, that's your team, and Charlotte wins, that's also your team.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I didn't break out
for
the
me, it was like Charlotte
yeah.
only.
I didn't break out the Chelsea jersey. As much as I like watching Chelsea play, just because when I was, obviously younger, we didn't have a Charlotte FC, but a lot of my favorite players went to go play for Chelsea, and then as I watched, like some of the key Chelsea players just became my favorite players. Joe Cole, Frank Lampard, Didier Drogba. Like those guys were just guys I wanted to emulate. So that's kind of like what kept me as a Chelsea fan. But I decided to just fully support Charlotte in this match just because like this is a club that's doing something for our community. Is in the community. They're building pitches, fields for kids to play on. They're developing an academy team to provide kids a path to the pro game. So just doing all this stuff that obviously Chelsea don't do for the city of Charlotte. So I decided not to bring the Chelsea jersey out at all and just went 100% in Charlotte FC.
Yeah, I think we were probably some of the few. That stadium was, I would say, like 80% Chelsea fans. Like everybody had Chelsea gear or the flag. Cause we went to the supporters march,
Yeah,
and they were giving out like flags and all this stuff, and they had like the trophies they won, which was pretty cool. Like you get to see the Champions League trophy and the FA Cup trophy and all that stuff. Um, I'm sure it wasn't the real ones, but like still like to see them up close and personal, I'm like that's pretty cool. Like that's very neat. You don't get to see that every day, except maybe pictures if you
yeah,
Google it. Um, but yeah, it was just like another kind of cherry on top for that win. It's like you should have been rocking the Charlotte stuff. Like this is the home team, not
yeah,
Chelsea.
yeah. There was definitely a lot of Charlotte fans who wanted to rep Chelsea that game, and I mean I get it. They've probably been Chelsea fans longer, but and you only get to it's this is the second time Chelsea's come and played in Charlotte. And we were there at the first one in 2018. We got to see Falcao play for them, and I don't know if you remember, but that game also went to
Yeah.
PKs, and they actually won that one.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Who did Falcao? Oh, he was their Colombian. Yeah, he was a Colombian player,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he played for Chelsea first season.
Yeah. Wow. Well, still, that's always cool. Do you got a Falcao jersey?
No, I never got one. No.
Oh man, yeah, that's one thing I also kind of regret. Like when James or James played for Real Madrid, I always wanted to get a Real Madrid jersey of him. Never
Yeah,
did.
they're expensive.
Well, yeah, that's why I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's brand new to the team. It won't be that much. I'm like, $100. Like, you got your mind. I will go buy it on the
Yeah.
street. I will buy this on the street, 2 sizes too small, hanging up on the
Yep.
wall.
Yep. Local flea market prices.
Yeah, I'll paint it on. Bust out the cricket.
Yeah. But so let's talk about the big moment of the match, and then we can kind of move on. At the 89th minute, 16-year-old Brian Romero makes his debut for Charlotte FC, and immediately has the impact drawing the handball. What were your thoughts on that whole thing, and uh, just kind of give me your thoughts on what it was like seeing a 16-year-old make the debut and play, and what did that mean to you, and as a fan and as a local Charlotte person.
So when he came on, he took off Vargas, which right now for like me, Vargas is kind of like my main guy. Like he's the one I really support, just because and only on the sole reason that one, he's good. Like he shows talent. He's just not given a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
But two, he's Colombian, and I just got to support him for that only. Um, but the game got delayed because of the weather, so it was already late. Charlotte was down by a goal. It wasn't looking like we were gonna win at all. And then Vargas gets called off, and like right then and there, I'm thinking, okay, like I hate to do it, but I think I'm gonna start heading out, like maybe beat the traffic. I gotta get up in the morning, type of deal.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, this kid maybe he'll be like the next Ronaldinho or something. I was like, maybe I'll stick around. So I started watching him, and I'm so glad I never left. I'm so glad I never left. Like just the nerves he must have been going through, like getting ready to come on, and then even when you look at the highlight and he's holding that ball to himself, like the guy's got a good 6 to 8 inches on him.
Yeah. Truly a boy amongst
so that's
men.
gotta be exactly. Exactly. So it's like, just for him to hold the composure there and get that shot off, and I don't see how Chelsea did it. I mean, just a rookie mistake is what you could call it. But then, he draws a hand. We get the PK, and then the whole stadium's like shouting, "Let him shoot! Let him shoot!" Because I know it wasn't just us that didn't want to see Rio shoot. Like,
Yeah.
I think the whole crowd was just like, I'm pretty sure most of the people were sick of Rio's and his lack of performance.
I think you'd be surprised.
Yeah,
There's a lot of Rios fans
You think so?
on Twitter.
man,
And
this is I don't know, it's
yeah,
crazy.
I hear it all the time, like when we go to the games too. There's like a group of people behind where I sit that are always like, "They need to put that Rios fella on." I'm like, no, they do
Oh.
not. And but but yeah, I want to talk about that moment though. He gets the PK, and everyone in that stadium is just shouting, "Let him shoot." I mean, do you think they should have let him shoot, or do you think it was better to not let him take it and not have him deal with all that pressure?
Nah, man, I think they should have let him shoot. I mean, who cares? It's a
Yeah,
friendly.
that's exactly what I was thinking.
Like, just let him put it in.
Yeah.
It's a PK, like 50-50 ball. Most likely he puts it in. The fact that Rios goes up there and shoots him is like, yeah, and then he points to the back of his jersey.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude,
I didn't like this.
it's a
the
PK,
celebration
like-
at all. It's the whole thing with with the
No.
Rooney clip that we were just talking about of like, he runs to the corner, points to the back of his jersey and is like, look at me, look at me. Like, the whole team should have been surrounding Brian. but instead they all like
Yeah,
go celebrate like it's a real goal. I didn't like that part of it,
yeah,
but the rest of it I liked. Yeah,
yeah. I didn't like that that PK at all. I agree with you 100%. Like he should have one. It should have been Brian, the youngster, shooting that, um, and then he can point at the back of his shirt all he wants because he truly deserved that
yeah,
moment. I will say going back to Rios, his second PK was pretty nice, um, well placed, just out of reach for the goalie. That goalie jumps just a little higher and it gets blocked. But still, not too bad of a shot there, because we've certainly seen players blow it from that distance. I didn't think that second PK was going in. I think I even looked at you. I'm like, ain't no way this is going in. He just doesn't seem like that type of player.
yeah. But he does the little banaka, the little chip penalty. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
he's gotta try to build a highlight tape so he gets a job next season. Because clearly he's
Man.
been dropped from the first team. He didn't play against Miami. He didn't
Well,
play against Toronto. I don't think he played at the last home game. But so clearly there's something going on
yeah.
there with Rios not being included anymore. But whatever.
Yeah. But then again, it's a friendly, so who
Yeah,
cares?
yeah. Anything else to talk about the Chelsea match? Was there any, you know, I guess how do I want to word this? Were you surprised at all about like the difference in individual talent between some of the Chelsea players and some of the um, Charlotte players, or even some of the team play, like some of the passing or first touches? Like, did any of that stuff, was there a true difference between the two teams in terms of that, or did you kind of feel like it's the differences are marginal?
No, no. I think, at least in my case, I think the difference, the differences are definitely there. You can tell on their style of play, their passing. Like they seem to just kind of pass the ball around more, and the passes seem to be like more accurate. Uh, but also like the pressure, the defense that they had. They weren't just pressuring whoever had the ball, but like the next potential person to have the ball. Like the defense seemed to be almost a step ahead of us. It's like as soon as we passed the ball to an attacker or just anybody, they had at least a guy or two on him before he could even touch the ball. Um, the level of possession they played, I think I already said this, but like they could move the ball anywhere they wanted to. You could tell our guys were kind of like getting gassed, just chasing the ball, chasing players. We weren't marking very well, especially on the outside left.
Yeah,
I felt like we gave a lot of opportunities on that. Um, but no, yeah, you can tell that there's a big difference in the caliber of play on those teams.
yeah.
At least that's what I thought.
No, I agree. I thought, when I was watching it, like, and, where we sat, it was cool because we got to see a lot of, like, the Chelsea wingers, like, take on, like, Fuchs and walks and stuff on a lot of one-on-ones. And that was, like, one of the big differences is, like, you know, Mackenzie Gaines is probably the fastest guy in the Charlotte team, and it's, like, very noticeable how fast he is. They felt like Chelsea,
Right.
pretty much all the players are at that speed. Um, and just the way they dribble, it just feels like they have that thing on the ball on a string, or just glued to their feet. Like they just glide
Right.
through that field. Uh, yeah, and then like you said about the passing, it just
Also,
felt like they always had one or two options to pass to. Like they always had someone supporting them. And I think that's something that has frustrated me about Charlotte, and we can get to it in the Toronto game. Of that's not always the case, especially in the midfield. But with Chelsea, it just seemed like they just again you always had someone you could pass the ball to, and they could easily just move it up and down, side to side, very quickly.
yeah, I think their formation they might have had a couple more guys up towards the front, but it seems like they always had a guy in space, and like those guys were always kind of sprinting to get into space. Where like it seems like our guys kind of jog or semi run to get in. Like it just doesn't seem like the quickness is there. But also going back to what you were saying, like where we sat sucked all those people kept standing up.
Yeah.
Like, sit down.
Everyone sits so we can enjoy
Like
this.
the whole first half, we stood up.
Yeah.
The whole first 50 minutes, we stood up.
I don't
I
know
was like,
why.
oh my gosh, sit down.
It is not normally like that, I will say that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. To me, it was like not worth it. I was like, next time, two to 300 section. That's where it's at.
Yeah, that's where we sit for a regular
It was
season.
it was like when we first got there, I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be cool. We're super close, and then like the game started and everybody's still standing. I'm like, the national anthem's over. Like we can sit down. Like what do you do? Like after a while, I did sit down. I was like, I'm not. I'm just gonna watch it on the big screen for a little bit. It's like, yeah, I just paid this much to watch the game on the big old TV.
Yeah, it's probably like the same size as your like TV when you're sitting that far away from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, okay, yeah, this is not too bad. But like that's one reason. Like whenever I go to Panthers game, I never get tickets for there because it's like always like that. I'm like, why are you guys like? I get it, it's cool, but I'm like, dude, sit down. Like, I ain't trying to stand all this whole game. Stand up when it's exciting.
Yeah.
And also too, there's like kids around. I'm like, you're a big old 300-pound man standing up. Like, sit down, dude.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's much more enjoyable to sit. That's why I didn't get season tickets to the supporter section. I was like, I cannot do that for 90 minutes. I'm too old
And the supporter
and
stand. I
lazy.
mean, those guys are. That's another thing too. Like the supporters that came out, those
What
guys
else?
were
I was
awesome.
gonna mention one more thing about the Chelsea match, but I can't remember it now to save my life.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's also what old age does. Deteriorates my memory. Every day I lose a percentage of
What percentage? You'll never know.
all right. Well, I guess any final thoughts from you on that, and then we can move on to the Toronto game.
No, I thought Reyna showed his skills again. I mean, man, he likes to put that thing on those top corners. Very precise shooting. I wish it would have gone in. And then the third string goalkeeper we had, I think he should kind of be second string compared to that Parker guy. And the only reason I don't like him is just he's too short of a goalkeeper. We saw him reach over for a very kind of easy ball, and like that dude had to jump max limit to touch the crossbar.
Yeah,
So that worries
I was
me.
gonna say he is short, but man, he can jump. But goalkeepers, those are typically the guys whose careers are the longest. I don't see him
Right.
having that type of career just because like how high you can jump is kind of one of the first things to go as you get older. As he gets older, he's not going to be able to have that to compensate for his height. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I liked the third string goalkeeper. I thought he did well at the PKs. Blocked one. I mean,
Yeah.
can't ask for more than that.
Nope. That's all you ask out of your goalkeepers is block them.
Yeah. All right. I guess last question. Who would you want them to play if they did something like this again next year? Who would you like to see them go up against?
I mean, obviously Manchester United. I like to see the Red Devils come and make their little debut over here. But if not them, I don't know. I don't know who else. I don't think Real Madrid will ever come to Charlotte. I think they go to like Miami.
Yeah. Yeah, same with Barcelona. I don't think they would. Oh, maybe, but I don't know. Anyways, let's move on to the lesser of good news over the weekend. We traveled up to Canada and, no easy way to put it, got absolutely slapped around by Bradley and Son. For those who don't know, Bob Bradley's the coach of Toronto FC, and Michael Bradley, who's the captain, is his son. Normally, I would say, there's signs of nepotism there, but Michael Bradley can ball. Former captain of the U.S. team, played in the Premier League, played in Serie A, so definitely has the credentials. But besides that, we just got absolutely smoked 4-0. All 4 goals came in the first half. Pablo, give me your rundown on the match.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Bradley because like whenever I saw him in the live, I'm like, oh man, he's still playing.
I,
I was
you
like,
know, that's funny.
I couldn't
That
believe it.
I had the same thought earlier this season. Whenever at the beginning of the season, you and I were trying to think of like players that Charlotte could sign, especially at like that center mid spot. And one guy I thought of was Michael Bradley. I was like, well, he's got to be getting up in age. Like, I bet he could play in the MLS if he's not already. And lo and behold, he plays for Toronto FC. He's their captain. His dad's the coach. I was like, all right, well, we're probably not going to get him. But I mean, in that,
Yeah, I saw.
God,
I saw in the lineup it said Bradley, and I was like Michael Bradley. I'm like, no way, and I'm like, oh my god, he's still
still doing the
playing.
damn thing.
I'm like, go ahead, girl.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was one of my favorite U.S. players in that like era of like 2010 to 2014 15, and I mean he played for AS Roma,
Yeah.
played for Aston
Mm-hmm.
Villa. Like he kind of did it all. Probably one of the most successful U.S. players in history, and probably one that's probably not the flashiest name to remember. I mean, obviously you and I both forgot about him, but man, he had a great game though.
What? Yeah, and that's one thing I kind of like about Bradley is like, he's not one of those type of players that will take the easy way out as far as like, if he gets that light tackle, he just goes straight to the ground, Maradona type style. Like, he'll take the tackle and try to get that ball. Like, I don't think it's in him to dive or try to draw the foul. Like,
No, yeah,
he's a
he's an
fighter.
aggressive
Like,
player.
uh, yeah, he's an aggressive player.
He is who
So that's like one thing I've always liked about him.
he is who a lot of fans think Bronico is. That'll be the only Bronico slander of the
Bronco.
episode, but just want to throw that out there.
I'm glad he got busted lip.
That looked like it hurt.
No way. Did you see it? It was like
So I was
he barely had a cut on there.
oh, I thought I had a gash under his like cheek or something. Uh,
No. All right. Remember that time you cut your head open on the door,
yeah,
and Maria thought you needed stitches and was freaking out, and ended up being like this tiny little cut because the blood just kind of smeared all over
yeah.
you. Like that's what it looked like after they cleaned it up. I'm like, man, that was it. Like the tiniest little
Should have
cut.
asked the medic to like slash him. I'm
Yeah.
gonna need a cool scar.
Yeah, he had like one of those razors that the old school wrestlers used to have and
God,
just cut
yeah,
themselves.
filled with MRSA. Anyway, let's talk about
But
the match.
yeah,
We'll get
yeah.
so. What were your thoughts on the performance? Given the
Oof.
scoreline, do you think it's a justifiable scoreline? Were Toronto really that much better? I mean, obviously we played terrible, but what did you think of the match?
Um, I didn't think it was gonna be as bad as it was.
Yeah, this is
Uh,
one that
you
we had
know,
penciled down as an easy win, which I'm starting to
yeah,
learn that
I think
maybe
everybody did.
maybe there's no such thing.
Yeah, I mean, after this game, I'm like, okay, maybe we are just like a home team.
Yeah,
We're not. I mean, we've had one road win, but maybe that's
yeah,
it. Um, it was just absolutely crazy how they dominated us. And I can't blame the back line fully for this one. It was just we weren't creating attacking opportunities out there. Anytime we had the ball and we started making some sort of attack, it didn't really feel like all of our guys were running forward. And I think it's also because they knew that like they were gonna have to run back pretty soon.
yeah.
We had some close shots. Um,
Bronico
but
actually had a good one. To give credit where credit's due, he had a nice little attempt from the top of the box.
yeah, and I will say we bash on Bronico quite a good bit. And that's only because of like his first half team performances when Miguel was in. But ever since that, he's done fairly
Yeah.
well. He's done what he's supposed to
Yep.
do. But at this point, he's just an easy target.
Yeah.
But no, I think those first two goals were just so demoralizing for the team that they were just like, you know, pack up the bags and ready to go. Like, I'm kind of done playing. Also, I'm sure they were tired after that Wednesday
Yeah.
game. Most of it, actually, all of the starting lineup for this game played. I want to say the first 45 minutes in the
Yep.
Chelsea game. So, I'm sure that had
So
something else to do
so
with it.
let's talk about the starting lineup for a second. We had a couple changes, not necessarily in personnel, but just how players were positioned. We get uh Mora back in the starting lineup at right back, Fuchs and Carujo at center back, and then we see Anton Walks out at right back, Mora at left back. Uh, so Walks,
Yeah, what was up
yeah.
with
So
that?
that's what I want. Walks replaces Lindsay and Awful essentially for the first half. Uh, what did you think of that experiment of putting Walks out there and one just breaking up the duo that has been doing so well besides the Miami
I thought that
game
was pretty.
of Carujo and Walks?
Yeah, I thought that was just dumb. I thought that was dumb. I don't know why he put Walks out there. Like, I don't feel like Awful or Lindsay have shown anything in regards to, them getting replaced. Like, I can't think of why you would put Walks out there,
Especially because he's
except
been
maybe he just
so
wants
well
like
at center
more
back.
tall. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying Walks doesn't do well on that right side, but like, I don't know. At this point, you kind of was just kind of you want to start to stick to something that's not traditional, but the same lineup, like routine.
Yeah,
You want to stick to a little bit of routine. Walks isn't used to playing on that side. I don't feel like,
yeah.
and we got beat on that side quite a bit. Not blaming Walks the whole game solely on Walks, but I don't know. I feel like Awful or Lindsay should have started on that right side. I do like that he put Shinashinsky in as a
Yep.
starter as opposed to bringing him on as a sub like he has the past two games. Um, McNeil, he was another good one. Although I'm starting to think maybe Bender should be getting back into the starting rotation because we didn't see Bender at all this game.
No, I think he. I don't think he traveled with the team. I think he's doesn't meet the Canadian protocol, the health and safety
Oh,
protocols.
what? How? Because he not? He's
I think he.
American.
I think he might not be
I
vaccinated.
think you get a free pass. Oh,
I,
really?
that's what I've heard. Like if players don't travel up to Canada,
He's
it's
a
because of that. But I don't want to
he's a
speculate.
free range. Yeah, free range
I don't
chicken,
want to
huh?
violate any HIPAA laws, mostly because I don't know how they work. So don't sue me,
You
Bender.
have to ask the you have to ask the
Yeah,
hippos.
they wrote them. They know them.
Uh,
So let's talk
yeah.
about the first goal real quick. Is Carujo just the most unlucky defender in the MLS? I mean, this is like the fourth goal that has gone in because of like a deflection that he's tried to clear out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's man, that is very unlucky. Uh, I mean, I don't see how you do that twice. And the second one was just like, even Kalina looked up at it. I mean, when it went in, I'm like, wait, what? I couldn't believe it. What placement? I don't think Kalina thought it was gonna go in, but sure enough, caught that top right.
Are you talking about the first goal or the second goal?
Yeah, wasn't that the first goal?
Hello?
No, the first goal was from the deflection.
Yeah. Where Carujo tried to clear it out.
Cleared out, and it kind of caught the top right there.
Yeah, I mean, just they could try. They could redo
Just
that
very
10
unlucky.
times and it does not go in. Like it bounces
No.
off the guy's like
Mm-mm.
knee, like the side of his knee, and then just
Yeah,
essentially chips Kalina.
and it has like that backward spin where it's like it just didn't look like it was going in. Even when it went in, I was surprised. I was like, "Oh, no way!"
Yeah. Um.
But yeah, very unlucky of Kurujo.
Yeah, because he's had one at what DC United, at Philly, and now this one. I'm sure there's
Oh, I
probably
forgot about the DC United one.
the Philly one's even more atrocious. I feel like.
Yeah, that's the one I do remember because they were so close to the goal that he like kicked it right in front of it. And that's the one I was like kind of upset about because I'm like, you got to clear those out to the side.
Yeah.
But that one, like, he wasn't even in front of the goal when he did that, and it just bounced right to the goal.
And then the second goal, Michael Bradley's first of the night with the header. I don't see how guys
That was
head that
unreal.
way. Do you think being bald helps
Right.
that? Does he get like better
I got to try it.
friction?
I don't know. You'd think it wouldn't, right? Because, I mean, there's no hair. Just kind of, it could just slick off there like a slippery table.
Yeah. I don't even know if he was really going for
But,
goal or
man,
just
that
trying to
was...
like flick it on for someone because he was like so
Oh,
far
no.
out.
I think he was for sure going for goal. Yeah, that one. Like, I gotta give 100% credit to the set piece
Yeah.
and just Michael Bradley and his talent. I mean, he's like right at the corner of the 6-yard box, and he hits that thing and turn like that was nasty.
Yeah.
That was nasty.
Um,
Yeah, I think like if you look at the highlights, you even see like his whole bench just stand up and applaud.
Yeah.
It was just
that's sick.
like, yeah, it was a good goal, but still, like you said earlier, you give him another 3 or 4 crosses like that. I don't think he can do it. 2 in a
Yeah,
row.
I agree. And then I do want to talk about, we mentioned it earlier, Bronico's shot. It came, at the 13th minute. He makes a good run into space at the top of the box. Reyna plays it to him. He pushes it out to the right and shoots it, and is kind of like trying to curl it in. I guess similar to what Reyna does, and unfortunately just curls it a bit too much and straight at the keeper. But the one thing I wanted to talk about is, and I don't know if you saw it, but like Swiderski immediately just throws his hands up and is like, "Come on!" Like, I mean, there's nothing else for Bronico to do there but shoot that ball. Like, he can't cross it to Swiderski, really. I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's the right play? Do you think he should have done something different? I mean, for me, I just feel like Swiderski's complaining about nothing.
Well, I think you and I both know that Swiderski is kind of a hothead. It's either his way or no way type of deal, or like it's either all 100% him or it's never his fault type of guy. I thought it was a good attempt by Bronico. I mean, you got to eventually start putting some sort of shots in there. It was only like 13, 14 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
Because when that first goal came, I'm thinking, it's like 4 or 5 minutes in. I'm like, okay, it's still very early on in the game. Like, we can come back from this. Then Michael Bradley drops that bombshell, and it's like, oh, okay, now we really gotta like start working.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, like we weren't creating too many attacking opportunities.
Yeah,
Not that.
the team play in the middle especially just seems to have disappeared. It wasn't really there
Right.
in the Miami game, and wasn't. I mean, they just weren't moving or connecting the ball as well as they have early in a couple prior games. Yeah, it just felt like they were so disconnected.
Which is where I kind of want to, petition to bring Bronico back in because I feel like he
Bender?
can kind of tie that middle. I'm sorry, yes, Ben. Thank you for the correction. Bender, bring him back in because I feel he can like kind of tie up those loose ends in the middle or like get plays started just a little better.
So
Nothing against McNeil, but like I think Bronico does a slightly better job at
Bender.
it. God, dog.
So, in this lineup, we saw Yazwiak take Ruiz's spot essentially to play kind of that central attacking midfielder that Bender and Ruiz have been playing. What did you think of Yazwiak's performance in the midfield?
You mean Bender?
No, I mean the second Polish pistol.
The dual threat. Man, like Yazwiak is similar to, well, not similar to Ortiz, but like he gets glimpses of we're like, okay, he did a little bit good on this play. Maybe he'll help develop, and he has helped develop some other plays. But it's like his finishing is just not there.
I just don't. Yeah, like I think he's a decent dribbler. Um, he's probably not as fast as he thinks he is. Uh, but I feel like his passing is not great, and he holds on to the ball for way too long and just gets shut down. I didn't like
Mm-hmm.
him playing in that midfield at all. I thought like it hurt more than it helped. And him and Serderski are just such big babies. Like my gosh, like
Yeah,
you can't touch those
yeah, they'll
guys.
stay on the ground.
Yeah.
No, yeah, exactly.
Um.
I don't know if that's just like the overseas type of play. No, I mean I think that's just soccer overall, where like it's a strategy of the game. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I don't feel like Yazviak is panning out to the player that we thought we were gonna get.
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned that there was a discussion over the weekend, like in my Twitter mentions, between some fans about that. About is he worthy of that DP spot? Is he living up to expectations, or is he falling short? Is that kind of thing. So it kind of seems like you are in that camp of he's kind of failed to meet expectations, right?
Yeah, I mean if you look at it numbers wise, like what has he done so
Yeah,
far? How many goals does he have?
0.
Uh, Zero in the MLS, and I don't know if he even got any of the Champions Cups. How many assists does he
0.
have? Not none that I can
No,
remember.
literally
You
0.
know,
I was
as
looking at
far
this over
as
the weekend.
oh, is it little? Okay, so
Literally
good.
0-0.
I'm glad you. I'm glad you looked it up because I didn't
I
even
do want to
bother
ask you
because
this though:
it's
how
just
how
not.
many games do you think he's played?
He's probably played a good what 6 to 8.
Okay, yeah. So he's played 9 games, which is actually less than
Okay,
I thought. But I still feel like 9 games is like a good sample size. I think we've seen
right.
enough of him to kind of make uh, or to kind of grade him so far. And some of the things that were being brought up was, he has definitely failed to make the mark as a DP player. Uh, DP players are kind of players that need to be, starting on the team right away and having an impact essentially right away, right? Best case scenario, you get you get Gareth Bale, who actually isn't a DP player, but he's already scored for LAFC. Um, I'm trying to think of like a good example. I can't think of any right now, but that's essentially what you want. You're bringing in someone who can have an immediate impact. That's why you're paying them the extra money. You're outside of the league guidelines. You're doing all
Right.
that, and you only get 3 of those slots, so they're pretty valuable. Uh, some fans
Yeah.
were defending Yazwiak of one. He's still young. He's 24, which to me actually isn't that young in soccer. That's kind of like the start of your prime. And then 2, apparently next year he won't be a DP anymore. He'll get bought down to, I guess, be a regular player. I don't know how that works. But that being said,
Mm-hmm.
like, if the intention was to bring him to be just a rotation player or a squad player, one, don't understand why we paid so much money. He's the second highest paid player, I believe, if not at least top 5 for sure, and just definitely
Right.
hasn't made the impact of being a top 5 paid player on the team. And then 2, like, okay, if he's gonna be brought back down to a DP, or yeah, brought down from DP next year, that's all fine. But right now, he is a DP, like, and he was brought in as a DP, and that's a valuable spot that we gave up. And I think it's fair to criticize him against that standard. And I think it's totally fair to say he has not lived up to it. Sure, he's had glimpses of like
No.
some great dribbles, and he's created some chances for the team that no one's been able to put away, but far too inconsistent and just has not been, a goal scoring threat or really even like a big playmaking threat at all.
No. Yeah, I agree. And I looked up on SofaScore like his player stats. He's played uh, 10 games with the team. And where if you compare that to like Reyna, who's had I think 11. Reyna has 2 goals, 2 assists. At least he's got that going
Yeah.
for him. Or like Shinoshinsky, yeah, he wasn't brought on as a DP, but like look how much of an impact Shinoshinsky has
Yeah.
had. He's got like what 4 or 5 goals already, and he's played probably like 10 to 12 games.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, like I 100% agree with you. When you're taking up that DP slot, like you need to be performing.
Some of the
I think Wayne Rooney kind of just sold us a lemon there.
Yeah, yeah, and it's again, I don't remember if this was we talked about this on like the episode that we lost to the Sands of Time, or if it was on an episode that did get published. But we talked about like, you know, Derby County were in a situation where every game was essentially must win, and they were willing to let go of a young offensive playmaker, essentially, right? I mean, that's kind of what he was advertised as. In a
Right.
time where they couldn't sign new players, they were having to rely on their youth academy essentially, and they were okay to part ways with Yazwiak. I think hindsight that says a lot now. Maybe there was some warning signs to take in, uh, and then some of the other things I've just heard fans talk about is like, well, it's a different league. You got to give him time to adjust. He moved countries, blah blah blah. I don't think those are like realistic safeguards. Like, if anything, MLS is probably a bit slower and less physical than the English Championship. So it really should be a little bit easier of a league to adapt to. And then, two, like, okay, this guy's moved countries before. Like, he knows how to adjust. And he's been here, what, 3, 4 months now? Like, I don't think that's, a good scapegoat either. Uh, I don't think it's something where he needs to be cut or anything like that. I still want him to be part of the team, but I do think it's like just fair to bring up of like, hey, this guy has been underperforming. Don't think he really worked that well at the central attacking mid spot, and you know I think Vargas or Shinshinsky could definitely bring more when it comes to the winger spot, and maybe for right now, Yazbek is kind of like a super sub player, right? He kind of takes Shinshinsky's role of that of like just coming off the bench and having an impact that way.
Yeah. I don't know. They definitely need to do something with him, because maybe like try switching them positions. Maybe put him on the left side. Maybe he's better on that side. Who
Yeah,
knows? I feel like sometimes I feel like Shinshinsky should be at the top instead of Sidursky, but yeah, he would throw a fit over that.
yeah. I don't know if I'm sold with him being the center forward. I like how he does out in the wing. I just think like Shinshinsky's touch and finishing sometimes is not the best. Like he kind of scuffs the ball sometimes.
Hmm.
Um,
Especially like for a Brazilian, I'm just like, dude, you should be ashamed.
might be the worst Brazilian player I've ever seen. That being said, he's still very good player, but yeah, uh,
Yeah,
definitely
yeah, because we've definitely seen him hit some like
some scuffy shots.
wonky balls. Yeah, I was just like, oof, that looked like one of mine.
Yeah. So, real quick before I forget, we did have one listener with a question on Twitter that I wanted to get your take on.
What? Who is
Joey
it?
Nichols from Outhouse Saloon, always supporting offsides, which we appreciate.
Oh,
Shout out, Joey. So his first question is: for all the hot-headed fans that were so enthralled by the win over Chelsea, how humbling was the thrashing Toronto gave us? What do you think of that?
oh man, yeah. That's like another reason I thought we were just gonna like go in there and be like Toronto who? Like, man, like we just shut these guys Chelsea down, and I thought like I remember we were at the play and we missed a little bit of the first match, and you looked at your phone and you're like, oh man, we're already down 2-0. I thought you were joking. I thought you were just like checking the time on the phone. I was like, ain't no way we're down 2-0. Like the game's only been on for like maybe 30 minutes. And I just kind of like Waved it off. I'm like, all right, whatever. And then like, we'll see you later. And then I got home. It was like maybe a little after 9, and I turned the game on, and it was like the 70th minute, and it says 4-0. I was like, son of a gun! I'm like, what happened? Like, jeez Louise. Yeah, I can't. Very, very humbling, Joey. Just, ugh.
All right, and then his go ahead. What were you saying?
I was just gonna say, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of like a shot back to reality, I guess. Like I don't know why we're so bad on the road, and it looked like that difference between like home and away games was getting smaller. Our performance against Houston looked pretty good. The one against Montreal when we were missing 10 players looked pretty good. Like, it hasn't. This is really the only loss besides the DC United loss that's been like a true like beatdown scoreline wise. Like, I think everything else has been within a point, right? Or at least 2.
Yeah. Besides like DC United, like everything has been, 1 to 2 goals away. Where we might have got shut down like 2-0 or 2-1, something like that. 3-0 was our very first game. You can't almost even count that.
Yeah.
But this one hurt deep. This was a shot to the kidneys.
Yeah, I mean, this was like, I don't know which one hurts more, the Miami one or this one, but the last 2 away games have just been like just total dick punches. Just ugh.
Yeah, because there's like,
and I had to rewatch the game for the podcast, and it was like, I don't want to watch this.
I know. I don't need. No, yeah, same here. Like, I already know we're gonna lose 4-0, and then like when I saw that that first goal, I was like, hey, no, I was like, that went in. I'm like, no way, this is one of their goals. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. And then,
I don't want to. I think I shut the game off like around the 80th minute. Like, I know how it ends. I'm like,
I fell asleep at the 80th minute and was like, good enough. I'm not watching the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then his second question is, until we get a proper number 10, or essentially a proper central attacking midfielder, I think Jozwiak can be a good fill-in. Thoughts? We've kind of covered this a little bit already, but kind of the brief version. For me, no, I didn't really see it in this game. I didn't think he had the passing abilities to do it, and his like one-on-one skills like in the middle of the park aren't that great.
Right.
So for me, no. But I don't know what other options we really have. If Latanzio wants to keep trying it, go for it. But I'd prefer to go back to the midfield 3 that was working, which was Ruiz, McNeil, and Bronico. You can throw Bender in there at halftime as well. I think that was working a lot better. What'd you think?
Yeah, I think Jozwiak is good at number 7. I always think as wingers as like number 7s or 23s or 14s, things like that. So I think Jozwiak's got the number to be a winger. I don't think he needs to be a center attacking mid. I think Shinashinsky could work out better in that center attacking mid, and I think he could be our next number 10.
I don't think he has the technical skills for it, which again is weird because he's Brazilian, but I don't see it.
That's the only reason I'm giving him number 10, because he's Brazilian.
Yeah, you're Brazilian, you'll figure it
out. Yeah, it's in your blood. That's why he's underperforming. He doesn't have the right number on his jersey. Remember that movie? What was it? The Fan, I think, with who's the guy that played Blade? No.
The tax evader. Yeah, Wesley Snipes. Tax evader.
And Robert De Niro.
Never saw it.
What?
Only seen Blade.
Oh my!
And
gosh.
White Men Can't Jump.
So okay, in a nutshell, it's a baseball movie. A great movie. You gotta watch it. I think it's called The Fan. It's got Robert De Niro, Wesley Snipes, Benicio del Toro.
Dang.
I think not Cameron Diaz. Anyways, long story short, Wesley Snipes is the star of this baseball team, but they get in this other guy for like a Spanish guy from another baseball either team or league, and he's like the new number 11. And number 11 was Wesley Snipes' number, and but now the new guy gets it, and Wesley Snipes is like underperforming. He's getting struck out, and he blames it all because he's not getting his number. And Robert De Niro kills the guy, and
God.
then Wesley Snipes get his number back, and then like it's a crazy movie, but it's like, but once Wesley Snipes gets his number back, then he's like back on top, but then the other guy's dead. But I'm not saying kill the other guy, but
Well, Ortiz is our number 10.
Shinsky.
So
Yeah, there you go.
he might already be.
Metaphorically speaking, you can put him on the chopping
No
block.
one has seen Ortiz in 3 weeks. He could be dead. Someone go check.
He could be in a freezer or somewhere.
Nah, yeah.
But anyways, yeah, give Shinsky the Brazilian number 10, and I think you'll see different outcomes.
Have I talked about how the number on jerseys, like how that's changed over the last couple of years, is probably like my biggest pet peeve?
No.
I hate when you're starting 11, their jersey numbers aren't 1 through 11. I hate that. I hate seeing these big numbers out here. Like Quinn McNeil's 35, like Jalen Lindsey's 24, like Bronico's 13. I hate that crap. Like I wish it was like your goalkeeper should be number 1, and then like from left to right it's like 2, 3, 4, 5, and then like 6, 7, 8, and 7's your winger, like 10's your cam, 9 is your forward. That I've always liked that better. I cannot stand when it's like weird numbers.
Yeah, I always thought it was weird.
I don't know if that's ever bothered you, but that's always bothered me.
It does bother me a little bit, but I understand like some players have number preferences. Like who's the Colombian that plays with Liverpool now?
Luis Diaz.
Luis Diaz. Like I think he wears 14 with Colombia, and he likes to wear 14 with Liverpool. So like I get that, but like yeah, anytime like going back to like FIFA or winning 11, like whenever I get my team and I get like the solid lineup how I want it to be, like yeah, I'm renumbering all of them 1 through 11, and then anything after that, like you're a sub.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'll even sometimes
like
do
goalie,
like my subs. Like I'll do my backup goalie is like number 12. The backup striker can be like number 15. Like sometimes I'll do it that way as well. But
see, like my backup goalie, I'd put my main goalie as number 1, my backup goalie is number 99, and then my third string is 88. Because I want the field players to have the next numbers. Goalies can just have whatever.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like whenever, who was it? Like, so Ronaldinho got on, what was he, like number 99 or something? No, or maybe he was still number 10.
I don't know. I remember he was number 7 for Brazil at first, when like he first started going on.
Yeah, but when he played for like AC Milan, I mean.
Oh yeah, he was something weird.
He was some crazy number, like 99. I thought it was.
Yeah, maybe you're right. That always looked wrong.
And then Messi is number 33, I think now for PSG.
The 33 to 30.
Or maybe 30. Yeah, I think he's 30.
That's a weird one.
But I'm just like, dude, that's so high. I don't get it.
Neymar, just give him the number. He's way better than you.
I'm like, Neymar, you're going to end up on injury reserve. Just like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to the match. Enough tangents.
Yeah.
So where were we? So then the third goal, was that Bradley's second goal? The third goal, I can't remember now.
Bradley was the second goal for the header, and then they also had 2 starters that came out of I guess Italy, or they're Italian bred, whatever. But I think one of those guys had the third goal.
Yeah, and I think so. One of them is definitely a DP. I don't know if they're both DPs, but like, boom, like there's your example of like you bring in a guy to be a star player and have an impact right away.
Yes.
You got one guy who scores.
Yeah, so they had Bernardeschi and Insigne, both, come onto the roster, and Bernardeschi had a goal.
A nasty goal.
Ooh, yeah, like that's a hard one to stop. But then again, like very light pressure on our defense. Like, it, I feel like sometimes these guys give these players too much space to work
Yeah.
with. Like, they should be right on them, not 3 to 4 steps away.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's something, that we talked about during the Chelsea match. Like, Chelsea's defenders were just always on a Charlotte player, like right in front of them.
Yeah.
Uh,
And even the other guy that made his debut, Lorenzo and Sig, like he had a goal, but luckily it was called back due to offsides.
Yeah.
So like both of them came on and scored.
Yeah.
One of them got called back, but it was like, yeah, as a DP, that's the type of role that, like you mentioned, like that's you need to be having that type of impact, and we haven't been seeing it from Yazviak.
For me, their DP, really, to be fair. I mean, Swiderski's had more of a positive impact, but I wouldn't say he's really lived up to the title either.
No, yeah, I feel like he should have had a goal against Miami. I felt like he should have definitely had a goal against Toronto.
Yeah.
But
he had a chance. I don't remember if it was in the first or second half, where like if he just would have taken it first time, and that's something that like I'm starting to just kind of like realize about Swiderski more. Like he does not one touch anything. Like he has to like stop it and then like push it a direction and then like set up for a shot. Like he needs to start learning how to just like shoot first time. Like just put your foot through it. Like you don't need to stop everything. Because like if you take a touch to settle the ball and then set up a shot, like that's you're given up 1 or 2 seconds. That's plenty of time for a defender to cut an angle off or at least get a body part in front of you. Like you just take it first time, like it catches people by surprise. Off guard. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's
he had a header, I think around the 30th minute or something like that. I don't know who crossed it to him, probably Reyna, but it was just like right at the keeper. But I agree with you, like he kind of stutter steps a little too much when he should just be shooting almost right away. But I feel like that goes to a lot of our attackers, like especially when we get to that attacking third. I feel like we just like stutter step too much, or like the guys are just stunned that they've even made it that far, and now they don't know what to do.
Yep.
But whatever.
And then the fourth goal, Bradley just drives it down the middle of the field and chips Kalina.
Yeah, another like.
I mean,
great
that was
goal.
A pretty
like
saucy
all
goal.
these goals except the first one were pretty amazing.
You there? Hello?
Huh? Yeah.
Any thoughts on the fourth goal?
Oh, the fourth goal? Yeah. Another, good goal by Bradley there. Like, what he out dribbled like 2 or 3 guys and chipped Kalina. Yep. That was pretty sick there. I don't know if you caught me on this last one or not, but I said all their older goals were pretty amazing, with the exception of maybe their first one.
Yeah, I have to agree. They were all pretty like classy, nice goals.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to the second half. We see 2 changes for Charlotte and for Toronto. They take off. Toronto take off their 2 new Italian players, I believe. And Charlotte, I think we take off Walks for Lindsay. And did we take off Shinyashinsky in the second half?
I think we did.
For Gaines. Yeah. That seemed to help a little bit.
Which I don't agree with. I like Shinyashinsky. I think he's put goals in. Like, I don't know, keep him in there. He needs to be putting more goals in.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it was the right move to take Shinyashinsky off, especially with him, arguably being the best player on the team right now. But Gaines seemed to have had a good impact on the game. Just finding space. He just needs to work on his crossing. His final delivery is just so poor.
Yeah, and I think maybe that was another thing. Like the goal. I mean, not the goal, but the coach was just like, this game's pretty much lost. Let's get these guys some minutes, see if they can surprise me.
Yeah.
Like I was very surprised to see Shabachinsky or
Yeah, Zobosinski.
however you say his name, Sobozinski, like to come in. I was like, wow, I'm very surprised he came on. Happy to see Vargas on.
Thought he had a really good impact right away. Like, tried shooting it. Man, he's got a freaking powerful shot.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why aren't you giving him more minutes?
It's
man?
noticeably different when he shoots it compared to everyone else.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like he should be starting over Yazviak.
Yeah. Hopefully, we see that. And then I feel like really the only thing left to talk about is, the foul in the box for Charlotte that didn't get called where Yazviak got injured. That then led to the breakaway that led to
such
Fuchs's red card. So
yeah, such crap reffing there.
Yeah, I mean, that's like typical though now of just MLS having the worst referees.
That's what
I don't know how it doesn't get called back either. Like, maybe I don't understand the rules for it to be called back or what, but
I don't think they understand the rules. I almost felt like looking up that ref's name and sending him a nasty message.
Nasty email.
Yeah, and be like, ref, you suck.
That is one of my favorite thing about home games is whenever the refs miss a call and it's just like the whole stadium just, ref, you suck. Ref, you suck. Can you imagine if someone went to your place of work and gathered 30,000 people to chant that?
Yeah. I just wanted to be like, I need to speak to your manager.
Yeah. And you know what's funny too, of like when you see it happen, the foul happen, you see like two Toronto players point to outside the box, thinking that it was gonna get called and being like, it was outside the box, like the foul was outside the box.
Right? Yeah.
And nothing happens, and everyone kind of slows down, and then it leads to the breakaway, and then Fuchs just throws the guy down for a red. That's a classy red card.
Beautiful. I want more of them. If we're not gonna make playoffs, I want these guys to get some red cards, some well-deserved red cards.
Let Charlotte be known like the, the old school Steelers teams. Like, you're gonna go there and play, and you're gonna get hurt.
Bring back the Attitude Era.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that, not a whole lot to talk about, right? Just, I mean, the game was over.
Yeah, I mean, that was
the first half.
I still love how Fuchs just like ran up on that guy and wrapped his arms around him and just like, I kind of wish he would have like just body slammed him down or like clotheslined him and seen that guy just like twirl in the air. That would have been sweet.
That would have been sweet. I like too, like when the ref gives him the red, like he doesn't even look at the ref. He's just like walking to the other side, like he just does not care.
Yeah, I think if you go back and look at the highlights, by the time we concede the second or third goal, you can catch a quick reaction of Fuchs, just like his disappointment and this disillusion that this is happening and it's only the first half, and I think he just wanted out. I think he was just like, this game's over and
I'm done.
I think he's, obviously you could see the frustration between the crap. Like that wasn't the only crappy call these refs had. Like these refs also made some very late offside calls where like our defense was out there chasing guys. I'm like, oh, it's offside. I'm like, yeah, you should have called it like 2 minutes ago. And now when they're like, sprinting around, I'm like, it's ridiculous. Like these refs, like, I'm serious. I'm gonna write a very nasty letter.
You will be hearing from my lawyer.
I'm gonna Google review those refs. 1 star.
Yeah. I mean, God, that's just been the case like every game though. It's just like piss poor reffing, and it's always like against us
like at
too.
this point, it's like what you expect.
I don't know if it's just because we're a new team or what, but it's like always against us.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, we haven't had too many like lucky ones go our way.
And I guess really the last thing to talk about, does this loss pretty much kill any playoff hopes? Did you hear me?
No, say that again.
So the last thing to kind of talk about is does this loss kill any playoff hopes we have?
Nah,
Do you think there's still a
we still
chance?
make it. Yeah, we're still look. We lost that one pretty badly, but we're still in eighth. We're still in the eighth slot there. Got 26 points. We're only two away from Cincinnati. Um, that's the closest one. Look, we're just fighting for seventh spot. Okay.
All right, so let me break this down for you. Because I was looking at this over the weekend. So if we win every home game, that gets us enough points. And if we win every home game and lose every away game, that gets us enough points to finish the season with 47 points. Last season, seventh place was the New York Red Bulls with 48 points. So even if we
Yikes.
win every home game, which I don't think we're going to be able to do, we have some really tough home games coming up. We've got Philly coming, we've got New York FC, LA. No, we don't play LA. So some tough home games coming up. And if our away performance is anything to look at, looks like we're probably not gonna. We can't count on picking up points away. So I just mathematically I do not see it happening. I just don't think there's enough points that we can pick up. Now, I think if we lose against Columbus this weekend, it really is over.
Well, this is a good thing you don't get paid to work with numbers.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. uh,
I don't know. I think I'm just being hopeful. I mean, we're still right there. Maybe we'll win some on the away, and we will win all home. It's still close. Look, it's still close, and there's still a lot of games to be played. You got to put the positive energy out there,
yeah.
and some money in the refs' pocket, obviously.
Yeah, I think they need to make some signings too. I mean, the transfer window's still open for a couple more weeks. We just haven't heard anything so far about what's going on with that. But it looks like everyone else around the league is bolstering up their squads. I know DC United has signed a couple players. Um, Obviously, Toronto signed a couple good players like LAFC.
Right.
But it looks like a lot of teams are kind of beefing up their squad even more, while we're still kind of dealing with, I guess, technically an incomplete squad. Um, so
And you think that's another thing that's maybe hurting the team? It's like, it's a new team, maybe not so much like the talent doesn't want to come over. They still don't even have like a solid, for sure coach. And maybe just players don't want to live in Charlotte.
yeah, I think it's if you're a star player and you can get interest from LA, New York, or Miami, I think Charlotte's a tough sell. Uh,
Right.
I think it'd be different if we were like a very competitive team, like if we were a top three team, especially with like that this is going to be our World Cup year. Like if we had guaranteed, like if we had a guaranteed playoff spot, I think it makes more sense for like an older star, like a Luis Suarez or
Yeah.
something, to come to Charlotte and play, because he's going to be getting a ton of playing time in playoffs, like right before a World Cup. It's going to be his last World Cup. Um, so for like a player like that, like high caliber, uh, that's kind of the only selling point that like we would be able to give really compared to like Miami. Obviously they're they're probably going to miss out on playoffs as well, but like you get to live in Miami. Same with
Yeah, but what does Miami have? Beaches? We got beaches.
we
You ever
got
been to
Myrtle
Myrtle
Beach,
Beach? It's
4 hours
lovely.
away.
We got, you got the beaches. You got the mountains. We got
Yeah,
NASCAR.
maybe the scouting team should just like completely Photoshop some of the brochures and make it look like Wilmington is like right outside of Charlotte, and maybe we can sign a couple players that way.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
maybe.
think with it being a new team, like it is going to be a hard sell.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that's definitely hurting us. And the only thing that would really overcome it is, you know, the money.
Yeah, yeah, and it doesn't seem like we're that type of club.
No, not at all.
But all right, well, that's all I had about the couple matches. This is easily our longest episode so far, coming in at almost 2 hours. What are your thoughts on the match coming up this weekend against Columbus? Is this a must win, or do you think it's if they tie or lose, there's still hopes for playoffs?
What are we? We're at. Are we at
Yeah,
home?
we're at home.
Yeah, I think obviously it's a must win. Like every game going forward is a must win. I think the chances are in our side a little bit just because we are at home. Um,
We looked pretty good against Columbus when we played them in Columbus.
right. Yeah, I think that was our first away game that we didn't lose. Or was that
That
Colorado?
was Colorado.
I think that was
I think it was the
Colorado.
first away game
Yeah.
with Latanzio though, and the team looked a lot. I
Oh, was
think
it?
so. I could be wrong though.
Could be wrong. Either way, I'm hopeful.
Yeah,
That's all. That's all you can be at this moment. With the standings that we are in, and like playoffs being basically right around the corner.
So, last question for you, and then we'll wrap it up. If Charlotte finishes eighth, do you still, given all the context of the season so far, do you still view that as a successful first season, or are you going to feel a bit disappointed?
Oh no, yeah, I still will view that as a successful season, just because I expected Charlotte honestly to come in a lot lower than where they are now, especially after that first game.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat. Like, I think if they finish eighth or even ninth, like, for a first season, with everything the team has gone through in the first year, I view it as a success. Like, we've seen some big flashes of quality, something that can definitely be built on next season. Like, for a first year like foundation, like I think we're in a really good spot. Uh, if we do make playoffs, which is doubtful, but hopefully we do. I think that's just like punching well above our weight.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. Like it's just kind of a cherry on the top if we make the
Yep,
playoffs. But either way, it's good.
yep. Awesome. Well, any shout outs or reviews, Pablo?
No shout outs or reviews, but let them know where you can get some shout
Yep.
outs.
So if you leave a review on Apple Podcasts or on YouTube.com, Offsides CLTFC. We will read it out in the podcast, shout you out. Again, shout out Joey for getting involved on our Twitter. We're on Twitter and
Shout out.
we're on Twitter and Instagram at offsides_CLTFC. And we are actually getting close to 100 followers on Twitter and are at 100 on Instagram. So appreciate all the support as always. Thank you guys for listening. If you like the episode, again, give it 5 stars, leave a review, and share it with a friend. That's honestly the way you can help us out the most. Is just spreading it out there. Until next time, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Hasta mañana.